From my perspective, women's rights are human rights and women's issues are human issues because, to state the obvious, women make up more than 50% of the population of the planet. And if you look at cultures, countries, civilizations who prioritize women's issues and women's rights, they tend to really do better.
I want people to be inspired to be that person that says, I'm not going to wait for someone else to do it. I'm going to be that one that does it.
I have in the palm of my hands, in the core of my being, the power to make a difference. And when we do it together, we can change the world.
I don't just want a flashy resume. At the end of the day, real success is daring to make change and living a life with meaning.
As a child, I need my right. A right to live, a right to play, a right to get education, because education is the key to life. Thank you.
This documentary is about women. It comes out of a desire to show the impact that women are making here in the US and across the world. I wanted to inspire young girls, and really women of all ages, by shining a spotlight on amazing, inspirational women that are making a difference in the world. My name is Sally Colon-Petree. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a mom to two beautiful little girls, Izzy and Stevie. I am a humanitarian. I tend to see people in need and immediately am compelled to want to help them. I get that from my mom. I was in Chicago visiting my dad, and we were still coming to terms with the passing of my mom. Last January, we lost Mom.
Right.
And it was a tough time, obviously, for all of us. She was so caring and so loving towards not just us as her daughters, but towards other people. She was a social worker for special needs kids, and every time she saw anyone in need, she would immediately go to them to help them.
My mama. Hello. You're on. My mama's always trying to fix. She's fixing you. Such a Puerto Rican mom.
My mom was the first woman who empowered me to be strong and independent. And not only that, she gave me the passion to pass those gifts on to my own girls. This is the deeper reason that motivated me to do this film. It's this domino effect. It's this idea that empowering one woman actually empowers many women down the line. Making this film, I encountered many stunning, beautiful women, giants in their field. Women who are making a difference, women who have gone far beyond their comfort zone and even put themselves in dangerous situations to lift up and empower other women and girls.
I'm Linda Rendleman, and I'm a woman. I'm also a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I consider myself a champion of women. Well, I'm a little girl from the 50s. I spent my time watching Father Knows Best, wanting to be Donna Reed and June Cleaver. That was a fairy tale that we watched on television. As a child, it was be a nurse or be a teacher. Well, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to play drums. But during that time period when I was growing up, there was a lot of you shoulds. And I want women to understand that, to forget the shoulds, to follow their heart, to take time to center, know what it is that they believe in, what is their passion for living their life, and stepping out and making it happen without fear.
Hello everyone, I'm Linda. It's really wonderful to be here.
The purpose of the Women Like Us Foundation was, and always will be, to bring women together, to support one another, to lift up the work of women around the world. We support women's charitable leadership. We do that by traveling, by supporting, by volunteering, by granting funds so that they can keep their movement going. There are so many fabulous women out here doing amazing things, and a lot of them don't have the opportunity for people to know about their work and the change that they're actually making.
I am Catt Sadler. First and foremost, I'm a mother. By profession, I am a television broadcaster.
Hi everybody, I'm Catt Sadler. All right, moving on to some heartthrobs of the past.
I live here in Hollywood and I have this really glamorous job where I'm on red carpets and I'm interviewing A-listers. Listen, it's been a great, great life.
Friday.
But I turned 40 and my father passed away and I was going through this real evolution, a kind of an awakening, I guess, and I was feeling this inner urge to get on this journey. Red carpets come and go, the fancy dresses, they come in, they go out, all that material stuff. I know what it feels like. It means nothing like it means and feels to give.
Did you make this? Did you make this?
One of the things that we do with the foundation is we believe in cultural immersion, and that means a lot of humanitarian travel. And I had invited Sally to go.
And it's something that I had always wanted to do. I wanted to learn about social injustices that were happening globally. When she asked me, I didn't know how I was gonna make it there. I didn't really want to leave my children for 2 weeks.
Early days, I didn't even really register what I was getting into. That's the truth.
For the last year and a half, just to kind of get you guys up to speed, I've been locating women-led causes over there. We're going to visit Kim DeWitt in her own Maleka home where she's working with girls that are victims of female genital mutilation, and Nancy Noel's school where there's 250 children that are all orphans. And we also visit the Victorious Teens, women that are making a difference trying to help teen girls stay in school.
And then the real planning starts happening, and then the whole group comes together, and then I'm getting emails about flights. It started to sink in where I was going. Kenya was in the news every single day there with all of the unrest.
I'm gonna miss you so much. I'm gonna miss you.
Every single one of us had some reservation why we shouldn't go. And each of us had to find our own reason to overcome that fear.
What I would say to women is fear is your gift. People think that the easy path is the right path, and that's not at all true. You embrace the fear and do it anyway, because that is going to get you to the next place.
I don't think that women are true to themselves. I think that they're living the lives that they're expected to live. I think that they get married, have a few kids, the little picket fence, and then they wonder what they're going to do with their life.
I still wanted Sally to come with Catt and I, and then her mother passed away. And it was a very sad, sad time in her life.
It's been a very difficult time for me. She always said, follow your dreams. And
She left me a little bit of money, and so I was determined to use it on a project that would honor her memory.
We are here. We are in Nairobi. Who's excited? Guys, group.
I'm so excited because I really do believe that when you get on the ground and you really see the need, then that's when you start making a difference because it becomes real. I'm really happy that you're going.
My name is David.
David, hello.
David, how are you?
So we had this amazing tour guide. His name was David, and he was like an encyclopedia. He knew every answer to every question we had.
And this is Abdi.
Woman, welcome to Kenya.
Thank you.
Hello guys. My name is Abdi. The buildings you see here, all around us, this is the industrial part of the city of Nairobi. I said, if you can drive in Nairobi, you can drive in any part of the world.
It's our first morning in Nairobi, and Mama is already hard at work. Tell them what you're doing, Mom.
Well, we brought a lot of donations and a lot of suitcases, and this morning we're going to see Mama Margaret, who founded the Tenderfeet School.
We couldn't even go to the school. The original plan was to go and see Mama Margaret and the children, but the conditions in Kibera at the time were so dangerous.
Are you worried? Do you worry?
No, I'm not worried, but it's okay. Yeah, we are fine, we are working, the children are healthy.
Mama Margaret's Tenderfeet School is for impoverished and orphaned children that live in the slums outside of Nairobi.
Kibera is second largest slums in Africa. It has more than 600,000 people living in shanky buildings built with mud and iron sheets. There is no running water, no toilets, and no electricity.
Mama Margaret was like, whoa, angels are among us.
My English, will you understand?
Your English.
My name is Margaret. I'm married. I'm a mother of 4. I'm a teacher by profession.
We were very fortunate that Mama Margaret came to us, and we got a chance to hear her story about how she decided to take it on herself to build the Tenderfeet School.
I was working in a school in the slums, and I was like the coordinator of everything. The owner of the school, he could not accept any vulnerable child in the school who has not paid for the school fees. He was commanding me, send them home, I don't need them. What are they doing if they cannot be able to pay for the school? And I was feeling that compassion of those children who could not access education, and I being a teacher, even if I could have them in my house, I can teach them. And my husband was like, you, come on, get out. What are you doing with all these children in my house? I want to relax.
Talk about a light. I mean, this woman, her entire purpose, her entire being is about getting up every day and helping these kids and giving them the best possible future that she can.
Tenderfeet is a community-based organization to assist vulnerable children to access education. Most of them, like 90%, they have lost their parents through HIV/AIDS. And being a teacher in the slums, it's like I know every story of every family.
Just to be in her presence, like she has that aura about her, that contagious light where you're like, okay, I want some of that and I want to go teach and make change.
Oh, how about Margaret? She couldn't have been any better. The question you asked was the question I was thinking the whole time. Who takes care of you? Yeah. Who takes care of someone who takes care of everybody? Did you notice the other question was, you know, what can people do? What do people need? How can we help? She still didn't even ask for help. She basically said, be aware.
She said, tell everyone that when they sit down to dinner and they have a warm home and they have lights, to think about us.
Is this normal?
Not normal. Special lock, just to make sure that everything is safe.
We were there, you know, with our work, wanting to hear from Mama Margaret at this fancy hotel. Feet away from us, there were men stationed with machine guns. Miles away from us, there were people literally dying. I mean, it was in the news everywhere, there, of course, in Africa, but all around the world. I mean, don't forget, we were warned to not even go. It really was that dangerous.
Are the police going to stop us now?
So there's going to be an accident here, a petrol. Don't take pictures of these guys.
Don't take pictures.
Don't take pictures. They might get mad on you. They might get mad on you.
You have children?
Oh yeah, I've got one wife and 2 children. We have polygamous families, okay?
Ah, good. Do you want another wife?
I think I have enough problem. One is enough.
One is plenty.
Jambo, jambo bana, habari gani, nzuri sana, wageni, wakaribishwa, Kenya yetu, kuna matata.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Gracie.
And I'm Stephanie, the mother of these 3 lovely girls.
I was very excited to hear that we were going to have teen girls.
As I was planning this trip, I was thinking about taking my 3 daughters into this area. There's just things that happen overseas that we are not exposed to.
These kids with us had never seen anything like this or been exposed to so much poverty.
But we were surprised because their first thought was they wanted to give back.
We had a bunch of food that we really wanted to give away because we kept driving past kids and we just wanted to give it away.
Yeah.
Like, we asked our driver, we're like, can we stop soon? And then he stopped at an area he knew these kids needed something, and they ran up and we gave him an orange, and he was just so happy. Another kid ran up, we all gave him like little things. Like, they were just so happy, and we have oranges, bananas sitting in our kitchen, and we just don't like think anything of it.
A lot of these kids don't have shoes, they don't have food, they don't have a place to go to the bathroom, they don't have running water. If we can give back to those kids, I think that's just extremely important for them to experience.
I think it's really important for every teen girl to go to another country just to see the difference.
On the second day of our trip, we drove down to the south of Kenya to the Maasai lands. As we came up to the gate of the Maasai Mara Reserve, we met our first Maasai people. They were Maasai women, and they were determined to sell us their bracelets.
This was stressful for me. It felt strange. We traveled all of this way. That window seemed to symbolize the difference in our cultures.
I told you it would be mobbed. You didn't believe me.
What Sandy was saying is that's not because she's an angry or violent woman. It's because she has to feed her children. I mean, that's what that was.
And so I found a woman by the name of Kim DeWitt. She has rescued girls. Most of them have had the female genital mutilation. We're going to get to go and meet those girls and work with them. This is Dr. Marcus.
Hi, how are you?
Very fine, how are you?
Catt, nice to meet you. Catt.
So he helps with the outreach with the girls.
I remember the feeling of not knowing what to expect. All of the anticipation, driving through this huge stretch of countryside, all with anticipation of wanting to get to the girls.
Our mission here isn't to have them be like us. Our mission is to respect their culture and do what we can to help them to sustain and build better lives through education.
Kim DeWitt felt that there was a need to put up a home in the name of a rescue center, Girls Rescue Center.
My name's Kim DeWitt, and I was raised in Kenya. My parents were missionaries there, and Kenya has always been what I consider home. The Omalaika home is a home for Maasai girls that are at high risk of female genital mutilation and early childhood marriage, and it provides for them an opportunity to go to school, to be in a home that they're safe and loved.
What kind of state will we find the girls in? It is, like you said, it's a devastating what they've gone through in the past. So how are they now?
You find the happy girls, they look nice. There is nothing alarming at all.
Yeah.
You must sound the L, Olmalaika. The literal meaning is for the angels.
For the angels. I love that. So bye.
He is Chief Kasoe. So when you are here, feel free, feel comfortable, be happy, because he is the owner of security, and security is the source of peace.
The girls that are here, the parents want to marry them off, and in order for them to be married, they have to go through the ritual of the FGM.
FGM is huge in Africa. I believe 29 countries currently practice female genital mutilation just in Africa. 8,000 girls every day worldwide endure female genital mutilation. About every 20 seconds, one girl is circumcised.
FGM was one of the things that I had no idea about. I had never even heard of it.
They cut the clitoris pretty much off, and in some countries, the labia majora and minora. And some places even will sew the vagina shut after that. The razors and knives that they use are not clean, and so you can be passing all sorts of infection. You can pass HIV to the child you're doing it to.
FGM, it's one of these things you just wonder what awful psychopath came up with it in the first place. Like that anyone ever thought that FGM was a good idea.
Sometimes the little girls will bleed to death when they've been circumcised. And the problem comes where they can't be taken to the hospital. With circumcision being illegal, now you have to admit that you've just circumcised your little girl, so you'll go to jail. So often the little girl will just bleed to death because they can't take her for help.
FGM is the rite of passage for girls to become women, and then in turn they're able to be sold to men and be married as young as 8 years old.
There's a long history of white Westerners looking at non-white, non-Westerners and telling them what to do. I do, however, feel comfortable saying that female genital mutilation is just simply wrong.
It was a misperception that a woman becomes promiscuous when she has not undergone FGM. It is a bad practice. It is an outdated practice. I repeat it again, and I can repeat it 1,000 times.
All of the girls in the home were rescued. They were in some sort of crisis.
So we try to rescue the most desperate ones, the most orphans, the most vulnerable ones.
Do you ever have the families come back and try to get them?
Yeah, sometimes, but we'll tell them no, because they still have that intention of marrying them off.
And they get money for that.
They get cows.
They get cows.
Yeah, they get dollars.
So when you see them, be happy, okay?
First of all, I'll say when I walked in there, I guess I expected there to be sadness and devastation and these girls to just be hopeless. I don't know why I thought that it was going to be that.
I am Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
My name is Faith. My name is Gladys.
But I walked in and these girls, the first thing they did was they sang the most beautiful song.
We're so happy to be here, and I understand that we're going to help you with some of your chores, maybe?
And we were actually able to kind of live a day in the life of your girls. We got to do laundry and cook with them and get water with them.
I went with them to the water hole, and we had to carry really heavy buckets. It's so heavy! And they were like half my size, and they got it like no big deal, and I tried it, and it was like falling off my head, and I couldn't do it. Like, it was so heavy.
I don't know how they picked this up, because I couldn't pick it up.
Where's the weight going?
Oh. I particularly didn't do it because it looked really hard.
Are you okay?
Where does it hurt?
It was just crazy. They did it every day, and I did it once, and I couldn't even carry it like halfway.
These women run circles around us as far as strength goes, as far as resilience goes. These women are unbelievable, and she was like 14. I mean, I have the utmost respect. They're like focused. They're carrying water on their heads all day long. They're doing 5 loads of laundry before 8 a.m. by hand.
More wash?
They were so inspirational, and to watch them do their tasks throughout the day, the laundry and the cooking and getting their water from the river. We were just really in awe of these young women.
These girls are looking at your phone, they're like, what is this? They're looking at a gadget with their face on it, and they're like, what is going on? And they just get mesmerized by it. It's so normal to us, and these girls don't know what technology is. And so it's cool seeing them hold one for the first time, or the only time ever.
Nice, good job! You guys, we're not doing any of our chores. Yeah, we're goofing around.
I had worked with girls for a long time, trying to find sponsors for them, putting them in school, educating them. And nothing ever seemed to work good because I didn't have total control of it. And so I felt like at some point I just need to raise the money and build a home myself. And a couple in Australia sent $20,000.
Oh, wow.
I'd never met them. And from that moment on, I just stepped out in faith and we started building the house, and we've just kept going ever since then.
We walked through the rooms. The sheets were pretty. They had stuffed animals, like my little girls have stuffed animals. And I thought, these girls are living a normal life, even though they've gone through tragedy.
So I know your name is Jacqueline.
Yes.
And you're 14 years old.
Yes.
And how long have you been here at Omalaika?
I have now 1 year and 2 months.
Jackie, I remember her name, she was so quiet and she was so timid.
I want to be educated and I want to be somebody in the future.
What do you want to do with your future?
I want to be a doctor.
A doctor.
Mm-hmm. So my mother was not able to educate me, so she has said she wanted me to get married for her to get money or to get girls. In Maasai, they circumcise girls, both girls and boys, but mostly they circumcise girls.
Did it happen to you?
Yes.
It did.
I am living now happy.
Yeah.
Here.
You are.
I believe in myself that I will work hard and I'll be somebody in the future.
You know you deserve that, right?
Yes.
You know that. Okay. You're so beautiful, sorry. So I just got really, I don't know, it just like crushed down on me really hard at that moment. 'Cause I just felt her delicate little soul and I wanted to hear her voice. I started saying all the things that I think my mom used to say to me. You are the future. This isn't all there is. There's so much more. And I started like being that cheerleader for her. And I don't even know if she understood a word I said.
So I also had the opportunity to meet up in LA with Kim DeWitt from the Omalaika home. Would you be open to us bringing a camera and you asking people if they've ever heard of FGM and just getting their organic reaction?
I would love it.
Really?
I would love it. I was just wondering if you know what FGM stands for. Never heard of it? No.
I've never heard of that before, no.
I was wondering if you've ever heard of FGM or female genital mutilation. Do you know what it is?
Oh, well now I do.
Now I
You
do.
just
You
told
just-
us, but
right.
no, otherwise no.
Otherwise, no.
Most people are just incredibly amazed and can't believe something like that would still be going on nowadays.
That's crazy, wow.
It's terrible.
That's terrible.
Pretty shocking.
And I think so many of them can relate because they have a little girl.
Sure. My daughter is 15. Yeah.
And
Sorry. I have grandkids, that's bad.
I mean, you have girls that exact age. Can you imagine doing that to them or them being married to a 60-year-old man now, you know? And so I think it hits home, especially with the females because they're moms.
You know, being a mother, I would definitely be appreciative and grateful of somebody like you. I think what you're doing is great.
For a Maasai girl, if she has never had any education, it's pretty much a guarantee that she will endure female genital mutilation and early childhood marriage.
And one lady, you pay 10 cow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you have many cow, you can marry many wives.
And then her life will just be sharing her husband with several other women, taking care of the children, taking care of all the food. She builds the houses, she takes care of everything. Maasai lady does really all the work, and the men don't do a whole lot.
That's a competition. A person who jump high, they get more girlfriend.
So that means more wives?
No, only girlfriend.
It's only girlfriends, okay. How many girlfriends do you have?
Me? I have 2.
One wife and 2 girlfriends?
Yeah.
Your wife's okay with that? Awesome.
On the one hand, they've been stripped of their womanliness, but at the same time, they're expected to be so much of a woman on the other hand.
In my opinion, the only way to bring about change is via education. Educate a girl, and you've educated a generation.
I felt so much hope walking out of there.
That was incredible.
I felt like we can come in and help sustain what they already have developed. We can help them to continue.
The future of these girls is really, really bright because of selfless people, selfless charities, selfless women like Kim DeWitt who started the home.
Without people giving, the girls wouldn't have a place to stay. They would be married off.
When I was a little girl and playing in my backyard, it was Africa that I dreamed about. Africa has been an incredible gift for me in so many ways. The tribes to me were colorful, the cultures were colorful. They all have personality, they all have color, and they all have tradition, and those are the things that I was interested in painting.
Nancy Noel is a world-renowned artist, and she has a passion for giving back. We were really happy to get to go to her school, to meet the women there, to meet the children there, and assess what the needs are.
The place I was looking forward to going to the most was N.A. Noel's school. Prior to going to Kenya, I had seen all the pictures and I had heard all the stories about the kids.
Looks like some people are waiting for our arrival. How cool.
How are you? Thank you for having us.
So the school was created by Mrs. Tom. She is an amazing, selfless woman who lives at the school with her husband full-time, and they run the day-to-day operations. Just like at the Omalaika home and anywhere we went in Africa, we were greeted at the N.A. Noel school by amazing traditional songs and dance.
I started the school in 1999. By then, there was only one school, Dr. Williams, the public school for the government. And now they could not take in the orphans. I talked to some parents and relatives and guardians. Should we start a small school here for these displaced ones? And they supported me.
The relationship with the Toms is a really special one because this is a school that Women Like Us has been supporting for years. They really literally started from nothing. It was a belief on their part. It was a passion that they said, hold on, we have kids here, we have orphans in our midst, we have family we know, neighbors we know dying of AIDS. We need to give them a refuge, we need to educate them.
One day I was looking for little kids to paint, and they took me to this little hut, and there were 60 kids in this hut, and they were all singing to me.
She loved the children, and she felt like building a better class for them.
The matron of the hut, which was Mrs. Tom, came to me and said, since you're our first visitor to our school, we're going to name the school after you. So many people go over to Africa and they say, oh, you know, we're going to send money, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And they always tell me nobody does anything. And so when I started smuggling money to them, they were really surprised.
I think one of the best experiences was watching my 3 girls interact with these kids, learning the stories, seeing their livelihood. The attention they got from those little children at Nancy Noel School was just fabulous.
I like how we were more interactive with the kids. They asked us questions, we asked them questions.
They're obsessed with you. They're not used to seeing different colored skin. We see every ethnicity a day.
They all wanted to hold our hands. They were just so fascinated. They wanted to show us everything. And I know each one of these girls had a little buddy that really got attached to them.
One of the things that stuck out to me the most is when we were in the groups, and then all of a sudden this one little kid came up to me. He goes, so are you guys starving in America too? And I just didn't know how to respond to that.
The N.A. Noel School, wow, what a beacon of hope. These sick and orphan children, oh my gosh, they were so beautiful. Their spirits were still so bright, so full of joy. But we also saw firsthand how they were struggling. Their resources were so strained.
I actually got there a little bit early before the rest of our group, and I walked over to where the kitchen is, which was actually nothing more than a pot over a big open fire, little chickens running around, and there was a baby sitting on the ground. There was a little girl with no diaper on, and I talked to her mother who was working in the kitchen, and she said, this is Faisana Brown. Take her. You can have her. Please take her. Take her to America.
And this is her mama, who said we can take her back to the United States with us. She was joking.
I'm not joking.
You're not joking?
And it took me back. Of course, I didn't know what to say because I can't imagine a mother wanting to give away her child. But as the day went on, over and over again, she said that to me. Take her, please take her. And that's how desperate they are for their children to have food, to have shoes on their feet, to have an education.
You go to anybody, huh?
That was my real introduction to the poverty and the desperation of a lot of the people that we worked with in Kenya. The morning that I got there early, they were stirring the big pot on the open fire, and they told me that it was a millet porridge and it was time to feed the little ones. So I walked into the shack, which was very dark, with all of these beautiful children truly lined up very patiently, waiting for their food. And we passed out little plastic cups of warm porridge.
It wasn't great food by any stretch of the imagination, but we were told that some of these children don't even receive food at home. So this is the only fuel they'll receive to make it through their school day.
And to see the children sitting there down on the ground and sipping their porridge was something that made me realize how much we must also help provide for food for these children, to affect their health, to affect their education, to affect their lives.
So this is where you rest?
Yeah,
Yes.
This is cassava.
Yeah.
For porridge.
Oh, this is for the children's porridge.
Yeah.
This is mixed with milk. So that has a lot of good protein in it for the children.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing me into your home.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So tell me about how many people sleep in your house every night?
11 kids. We are comfortable with the population.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
We have stayed for so long and we are happy.
Yeah,
with
you
what
know
we
what?
get.
Because you have a beautiful heart, both of you.
I went into their home and I think they have, I lost count, frankly, 11, 12 kids, 15 people under one roof. But none of that deterred them from their goal and their mission and their desire to make change for these young people.
I had this idea to get them some recorders, which is like a flute. And so we went into the classroom and we handed out 200 recorders.
Sally said, I'm a musician. I'm in the music business. I want to bring something musical to these children in Kenya.
In retrospect, I think I would have handed the recorders off at the end of the day instead of first thing. They were so excited to play the instrument. It was just mayhem.
We tried to teach them certain songs. They thought it was just so cool that noise was coming out of this thing.
I mean, we couldn't even hear ourselves talking.
And even the next day, we were driving to Nancy Noel's school and all the kids in the neighborhood were playing these recorders. So that was really fun for me.
They've been learning about Sandra, right? They said, are you Sandra?
My childhood friend Sandy, who I've known since 10 years old, who's an artist, came in with us to Kenya and taught art.
The object was to go there and have the children paint and draw anything they wanted and transfer them onto fabrics or cards and have them for sale so that the proceeds would go back to the school. I was overwhelmed. I wasn't quite expecting that many children. I think there were over 200.
Catt was in there and she was looking over their shoulders, showing them how she could draw certain things.
I was so touched by that experience. Such simple things, paintbrushes, a little bit of paint, some paper. The fact that our little bit of resources could come in and make such an impact on them, to see them light up.
They had never had an art class before. It was the first time these kids have ever seen a crayon, maybe even to hold a pencil. They were so focused on painting and drawing, and there was so much excitement and such joy that it just kind of filled you up too.
It was like watching magic happen.
I got back way more than I gave, and I look at things differently. Now I know that by even just taking a small action, it might help somebody. And to share my love of art with children, it was so easy.
Majengo is an area where a lot of commercial sex work had been going on for over 40 years.
More than half of the children that I cared for originally had AIDS. Because it was a coastal community, there was a lot of transients coming and going, and this spread the AIDS. There was also a lot of superstitions. One of the superstitions was if you slept with a child that was an infant, that it would cure your AIDS. So there were a lot of children being raped.
One of the, frankly, hardest parts of the trip for me was going in and just walking the neighborhoods.
I wanted to show everyone the conditions of the dirt roads around the school. These children have to walk miles to school every day on these roads, and sometimes with no shoes on their feet. We were going to see Eddie, a sick boy who attends Annie Noel school. Mrs. Tom agreed to bring us to his house to meet his family.
We're going to Eddie's house. He's 4 years old, and his father died, right?
Yeah. He didn't accept to take the drugs. So he died.
Eddie has HIV, then I assume the mother has it also?
Yeah. And if you talk to her about it, she thinks you hate her, or maybe you're against her in some way.
I went into the home of a woman who is HIV positive. She lost her husband to AIDS, and both of her children had HIV.
Eddie! Hi, Eddie. Catt, can we sit down?
Yeah, just.
Can I sit with you? I'll sit over here by you boys.
She has said welcome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's also happy to meet you in her house. She's saying when they wake up in the morning, she washes them, then they leave for school.
And how do you spend your day when they're away?
She's saying she was plowing for people, but since now people are not plowing, there are no farms to be weeded, so she's just seated, doing nothing.
I see.
Yeah.
She didn't know where she was getting her next meal. They didn't have beds. The floor was nothing but mud. There was essentially 2 rooms. Both the kids were barefoot.
Another way here, you go to the lake, the fishermen, you get fish from them. But when you go down there, the fisherman will force a lady like her to have sex with her. That's when she gets fish, because her husband is not there.
That's why the disease is spreading widely.
She basically admitted that the only way on certain days she could feed her children was to sell her body. And that was her way of life. And it was frank, and it was honest, and it was just overwhelming to hear a woman admit that.
She's saying she wants them to study and to prosper. And she's praying that God gives her long life to see her boys growing up.
It was tragic. It was really, really tragic, and it was heavy. I just remember especially meeting that woman and meeting those kids and going, hold on, wait, what? How do I fix this? And you do feel that emotion, I think, when you go and you witness real poverty. You just want to fix it. And then when it dawns on you, that's not one story. That's about 1 million stories. When that starts to sink in, it's very, very daunting. I think the thing that people struggle with, and I definitely do too, and I have reach and I have a platform and I have all these things, but I still struggle with, are we really gonna make a dent? Like, what does this really do? Is this one trip gonna do anything? And is this one day gonna do much? And okay, so we help this one family. You wanna help everybody. Like, why is that kid's no different than the dozens and hundreds and thousands of others in that same little district where he lives? So it can be so overwhelming that I think people give up.
And I still today have a hard time finding women who think like I do and who think, you know, I can do that. I can change the world. It doesn't always take finance. Sometimes it just takes time and energy and the desire. If it's in your mind, then it's obviously something that you should be doing.
For one of my books, I did a survey, and about 93% of the women said their barrier to happiness was putting themselves way back, feeling responsible for others and not listening to their own voice and how they want to live their own life.
Just take one step. Once you take that first step, doors will burst wide open. We were at this lodge, Odinga Island Lodge, and I wanted to bring in some political figures, and I didn't really know how to take that step. And it just so happens that the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga, and his wife, the former First Lady, Ida Odinga, they chose the place that we happened to be staying at.
She developed the Women League of Voters in Kenya, and her mission in life is education and health and empowerment for women.
And I asked her if we can do an interview with her. And she didn't know us from anyone, and I did not expect her to say yes. She was so kind, and she said, why not?
Once again, thank you so much for speaking with us. You're a public figure, and along with your public life, I'm sure are some privileges, but certainly some challenges that you have endured. Your husband, for example, was in prison for several years. So how did you survive those trying times?
Those days when my husband was away in detention, I was a teacher in a high school. My hands were full. I had 3 children. I had my home to look after, and I just had to stay focused. That's the time when Nelson Mandela was in prison, and there was Winnie fighting for Nelson's rights, for Mandela's rights. And therefore I said, if Winnie could do it, I can also do it. I looked at Winnie as my role model.
I love it that women are in politics more and more. We're half of humanity, and our compassion, our communication skills really can make a difference in bringing the world together.
Education for girls comes naturally for me. Having been a girl growing up in this area, going to school in this area, and finally Nairobi University. And then after that, I was a teacher in a leading girls' school, Kenya High School. So I've been with girls all the time. And I've seen the kind of life-changing situation that girls who go to school can get.
This is deep Africa. We are definitely off the map. Deep.
Not just for themselves, but their families and the community in which we live. It is important for girls to get that quality education.
We're also going near the Rift Valley. They are all about helping teen girls stay in school.
This school and these women and the work that they are doing is called Victorious Teens International.
Every school was different, and when we went and met with the group Victorious Teens and the children at that particular school we were helping that day, this school was in the bush, as they say, and very, very deep in the country.
Had David not been there with us, there was no way that we could have gotten there. I don't even think that there was an address. We basically were in the middle of nowhere. I don't even think that they had ever seen cars come into the school.
These kids were really shocked by us, and to hear them tell it, or their teachers tell it, I mean, they'd never seen a white person. So that's not an exaggeration. We got out of our van and we might as well have been from Mars.
And the kids, they just surrounded us. They wanted to touch my skin, they wanted to touch my hair. One of the teen girls grabbed a group of kids and they were asking her about things in America.
One of the more fun moments was when I started playing music, because they wanted me to sing, and I was like, oh, I am not a good singer. So I played music from my phone.
Have you guys ever heard of Beyonce?
I played a Beyonce song, and they actually knew the song.
Do you know this
It was
one?
Single Ladies, and they just started singing along.
There you go.
And I realized how similar we actually are, that even though we live worlds apart, we're actually similar.
I felt at that moment like we were all one. We all knew who Beyonce was.
My name is Anne Kabui. I am the founder of Victoria's Teens Bridge International.
Anne Kabui, she's amazing. She's all about creating opportunities for kids in remote parts of Africa.
And today we decided to visit Terret Primary School so that we can visit you and share with you.
There seemed to be no end to these compassionate women. Anne Kabui from Victoria's Teens visited schools all over Kenya to identify children having these difficulties and trying to provide solutions.
We started with a few girls and we just looked at them and we could tell that they were really suffering. They didn't want to interact with other people, so we found the need of talking to them and getting to know the problem. So after we identified their problem, that's when we thought of starting a program to support them. And also have our guest, Linda, from Women Like Us. Let's give her a clap.
Thank you. Well, hello, everyone. All these beautiful smiling faces. We are so very happy and proud to get to come all the way to Kenya and to meet all of you.
At primary level, the population of girls compared to boys is 50-50. But as they advance to upper primary, the number of girls start dwindling. Until today, you find that in the university, the population of girls at the university level is 20%. Most of them would have dropped out for various reasons. If the family cannot afford and they have to make a choice between the girls and the boys, many families still believe that the boys are the foundation of the family and therefore they'd rather take their boys to school. Girls go through this FGM, then the community just feel that the girls are ready for marriage. Then they pull them out of school. They lack self-esteem. They think that to do something difficult, that is a preserve of boys, not them. Sometimes girls, when they reach their puberty stage, they find it difficult to go to school throughout the month when they have their periods on. So you find that in a month, a girl misses school for 4 or 5 days. Definitely the syllabus and the teaching in the school would not be waiting for them. And eventually they just get disillusioned and they drop off.
The Victoria's Teens group is trying to keep the girls in school. They need these kinds of materials. Otherwise, they don't get to go to school for 5, maybe 6 days a month.
This comes from many generous people back in the United States. So we wish you good health and lots of studying.
So someone in America that's at home saying, I can't go all the way to Kenya, they can send a box of Kotex to these girls to change their lives so that they can stay in school.
Community work is good. We're touching lives of people. We are happy. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. So what are some of the messages that you're sharing to make progress?
Now we know that things have changed and we are using the role models in the society. For example, where we are here in Rusinga Island, the member of parliament for this area is a woman and we are showing them, look, this is what the women is capable of doing. Power comes in so many forms. To women, I think economic empowerment is power. Political empowerment is power, where they make decisions. Good health is power. And the mother of them all is education. Quality education for women gives them the power to conquer the universe.
Once Africa gets in your blood, it grabs you by the throat and you will never be the same. I would encourage anybody to go because it's all about perspective in life. We're worlds away and we're so very different, but on many levels we're exactly the same. There's a certain spirit about the people and you have to go to know it and to learn it, and I will always carry that with me from this point forward in my life.
When I become a mom, I would take my daughters on this trip just to show them that outside of our community, there's just so much more.
It was just fabulous. I just think it made them realize the world is such a big place and there's so much that they have that they can share with others.
I leave Africa and I am forever changed from that experience. But the truth is, you come back and all my responsibilities are still waiting for me. I'm still a mom. I still have to get up. I still have to go to work and show up to do that part of my life. I now know it is my duty, it is my responsibility to use my voice, to use my reach and draw attention to these issues.
I know from experience that when people get home from Africa, many times they have good intentions, but the day-to-day life gets in the way. I immediately started raising funds and started fulfilling all of the many needs that we had learned about while we were there.
I didn't want to forget my commitments in Kenya. I want to go back and I want to continue helping them. But I realized that there's so much going on right here in America. You know, teens in crisis, suicide, bullying, human trafficking, homelessness. And so I wanted to shine a spotlight on what's happening right here at home.
There are problems all throughout the world, and people think that there's only problems in third world countries where they don't have a lot of running water, food, a bed to sleep on, parents are dying of AIDS. We have just as many problems in our own country. I work in law enforcement, and there's never a day that's not busy. It is crazy the stuff we see out there.
My name is Amy Benson. My daughter Melissa, when she was 24 years old, took her own life.
Do you want to say anything to her?
Happy birthday, Grandma!
So how old do you think Grandma is?
25.
Does she look 25?
She was a good kid. I remember just loving to have her around and hang out with her even as a 3-year-old. She just has such a personality and loved to dance. We knew from a very early age that she just loved to perform and always had a smile on her face and was very sweet and caring. As she got to be a little bit older, she went through all the changes that any other teenager did, where she hated mom, she hated everything about her life. But we went through all those struggles just like any other set of parents do. We started to see some changes in her in junior high school. She wasn't hanging around with the same type of people that she would normally hang out with. She was finding the troublemakers. She just genuinely did not feel right in her skin anymore. Her personality started to change a lot, and we knew there was something off. I didn't recognize her anymore, and it was really scary. She started to associate with some other friends who introduced her to crystal meth, and she got hooked right away. And it was about that time that she started to cut. And I didn't know she was struggling with mental illness until later in life, when she got diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
So you think it only happens in areas where there's a lot of poverty, but that's not the case. And I know that firsthand because I've worked in both. In my early career, I worked in what we considered awesome town. The suicide rate in the town that I worked in was astronomical.
No matter what their socioeconomic background is, their cultural background, how they were raised, we thought we did everything we could for Melissa. It doesn't matter. She's still vulnerable. There's a lot of pressure to fit in. There's a lot of pressure to have the same clothes that everybody else does, to look the same. They get this idea in their head that they're not good enough, that there's something wrong with them. They see the beautiful models on the magazines and on TV, and they see the sitcoms that everything ends up well in an hour and everybody's problems are solved. Well, it doesn't happen that way in real life.
So many young girls are hurting, so they're reaching out. They're reaching out and trying to grasp something. Social media is a blessing and it's a curse, because now people get validated by the number of followers you have. So it's so fleeting.
Suicide is the second leading cause of death in ages 10 through 24. But if you think about it, suicide is usually underreported because families aren't excited to be sharing with their communities that suicide happened in their family. My daughter specifically who's 19 now. She struggled all through elementary and junior high, high school.
Julie's daughter, Marissa, was going through a struggle. She was in crisis and she was talking about committing suicide.
And as she graduated high school, it became such an issue that she became clinically depressed.
I felt like I was always different from everybody else. When the depression got so bad, it's like happiness is not even tangible anymore.
She couldn't even get out of bed and wasn't even taking care of herself anymore, to the point where she felt like she didn't want to live anymore.
My logical thinking is that I wanted to be in another place, and I thought if I left this place, I would go to a better place. I wasn't afraid to, take my own life.
People think kids are they're dramatic and they're not serious, but it's serious.
So when Melissa came out of rehab, she started a new life. She ended up finding a boyfriend, taking care of her son, and taking steps to get her life back together. We thought, this is great. She's going back to college. She got her GED, and her boyfriend called me frantic and said, meet me at the hospital. And When we got there, I knew it wasn't, I knew she was going to be gone. I just had this feeling that she wasn't there anymore. We thought maybe she had just taken too many pills and was trying to get attention again at first. But no, she really did it this time. She hung herself in the bathroom after she had a fight with her boyfriend.
It's heartbreaking that teenagers are feeling now that there is nothing to live for. When you want to say to them, this is just a season. This is a season of when you're hurting.
It is absolutely essential that these teenage girls have women mentors in their lives, living as an example to them, lifting them up, guiding them, and helping shape them so that they believe that they are worth investing in their future.
My passion was children and kids and teens.
We went into high schools and basically said, let's put a program on for girls to create high self-esteem and confidence early on so that we can help direct the decisions that they're going to make down the road. In our investigations and the studies that we actually did, it was very clear that creating confident, educated women who are out there fighting for each other and the things we struggle with every day needs to start early on.
It's trying to get them to understand that they're wonderful and beautiful right now, and they don't have to fit into the box.
Having somebody alongside her that she could talk to would have been very helpful. Somebody who maybe went through some similar situations, or somebody that she trusted that she could talk to.
When I think about how to heal my patients, most people find themselves, when they're depressed, isolated. And that's one of the major issues.
I've been feeling depressed for years. Years. Ever since I was like 16. Wow. Yeah, it's just been downward spiral my whole life.
I'm like in this room, this blank room, and there's no way to get out. That's how I feel.
They find themselves alone, they feel like they're the only one who feels this way, and then they continue to isolate. So when I try to pull them back, it's through community.
So baby steps is gonna be like your biggest friend.
I know.
Like baby, no, I'm talking getting up and like smiling.
Getting up is a big,
Yeah,
it's like
you
I
get up,
never,
hallelujah. Imagine someone you love and you're talking to them, you know? How would you talk to them? Would you talk to them the way you talk to yourself? Absolutely not.
Why are they cutting? Why are they mean to each other and bullying? Why do they have eating disorders? Some of the common problems that girls are facing today are the ability to cope with all the outside pressures and stresses that go on in their life.
Having a mentor is really important because like she's helped me solve some issues that I've had and like give me advice here and there, and like I deal with things differently now because of her, and I don't know, she changed me.
A lot of people who in life have accomplished remarkable things, they can point to that person, that teacher, that mentor who really helped them figure out how to embrace who they really were and how to go on to live a meaningful life.
It's so important to have people like that in your life who can be there, that can set aside time and say, you know what, whatever you're going through, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna be a mentor to you, I'm gonna be a friend to you.
So if you can just affect one person, if you can plant a seed with one person to let them know that they are special and they mean something to you, you can make a difference.
I think we need to come together as a community, as a nation, to help these young girls that are in crisis.
Actually, Grandma's 60 years old.
Yeah.
Did you know she was 60?
No.
What do you think it's like to be 60?
Whenever I have her son with me for a weekend, we go and take flowers to Mommy's grave, and he likes to hear stories about his mom, and so I always remind him, what a loving, caring person she was. Hopefully her story will help somebody else, and maybe some mom out there will recognize those same signs and help their daughter so that she doesn't end up struggling and hating herself and taking her own life like my Melissa did.
We had this moment where we thought, okay, we can't know this is happening and not do something about it.
The greatest woman I've ever known in my entire life, who lives compassion 24/7, Caroline Barnett.
I met Caroline Barnett about 17 years ago at the Dream Center. When I met her, she was just like an angel. Both of us were volunteers, and she had a heart for the homeless.
Towards the end of my senior year of high school, I thought, okay, Caroline, it's time to get serious. What are you going to do with your life? I'd always assumed I'd go into business or something like that. Everything seemed empty and pointless. I thought, okay, I'd rather do something I would do for free than do something for money.
This will be the floor for women with children. And this will be their kitchen.
I needed a passion, a reason to live, maybe even die for. I came across a place called the Dream Center.
So back in 1994, my husband started the Dream Center, and it started from him seeing all the brokenness here in Los Angeles.
I started the Dream Center 20 years ago out of one little apartment unit that we took in some people that had drug problems, and little did I realize it would turn into a 400,000 square foot hospital that's open every day to reach people. And so you just never know what could happen when you care for the one.
I was in a very abusive relationship with my boyfriend. I remember running out the house with nowhere to go, and I slept on a bus stop. But there were so many instances, just being a struggling comic, where I didn't have a place to live. I literally was homeless, and I didn't know about a place that could help me out. I wish that I had some place where I knew I could go. I didn't know about shelters. I didn't know about the Dream Center of someone you could just go and lay your head, where they just love on you and say, we're gonna help you, and we don't want anything back.
The Dream Center currently has 900 residents. These are men, women, and families coming from drug addiction, suicidal attempts, depression, some straight from prison, prostitution. We have a home for victims of human trafficking. We have a long-term program for kids who are emancipating out of the foster care system. So whoever's hurting in Los Angeles, we try to address and provide solutions for it.
I think one thing that Caroline brought to the Dream Center, which is so unbelievable, is a full circle mindset to help somebody. I've never met anyone who wants to walk someone through their pain more, that wants to see it through to the end.
At the time, it was still kind of new. The Dream Center was new, and most of the leaders were under 25 years old. And so our passion made up for our lack of experience. But we all had this belief that we can change things, that we could change society. And I received a call from a social worker who said there was a family in need not too far away. Now, at the time, we had a food bank on campus, but you had to come to us in order to receive. And so I loaded up my car and I drove over to this apartment that wasn't even a mile away from the Dream Center. But what I saw that day changed my life. It was a mom, 25, with 8 kids. There was no furniture in the house other than some couch cushions on the floor. And as soon as we walked in, the kids jumped in our arms and started eating raw zucchini. I thought, oh, how hungry are these kids that they're willing to eat raw zucchini? And it was at that moment a trigger was pulled in my heart, and I thought, okay, I can't know this is happening and not do something about it. And so just like that, we started our mobile food banks, and with 1 truck led to 2 trucks, and the lines grew to be 200 families long instantly, like within 2 weeks. I remember being very overwhelmed at the thought of how can I promise this many people food every single week? But it is shocking to see how 18 years later, those trucks have been going out 5 days a week, and we reach up to 50,000 people just with our mobile food banks.
Trigger moments are moments that inspire your life. They're everywhere. You just need to be open to seeing them.
I think we all experience these whispers, these little voices in our heads where we're being called because, this longing and desire to live with meaning. And I think it's just a matter of answering that call.
Now, I had grown up seeing those heartbreaking commercials of kids starving around the world, and they brought me to tears, but not to action. It took me being in a place where I was in the home of a hungry child that I realized how passionate I was about making a difference in this area. And that's what it might take for all of us as women. Find a passion. It's that kind of work that doesn't feel like work. It gives you a reason to get up a little earlier in the morning, and when it's passion, it pushes you beyond your fears. It pushes you beyond your limitations because you want to see this work get done so badly.
If you're looking for fulfillment in your life, serving others is the way to do that.
It is contagious, the energy of giving, and it feels so fulfilling to get outside of yourself and start to serve others.
So I would encourage women around the world, go try different things. Look up different organizations in your area and be a part, get involved. Find that trigger moment for your life.
Open yourself up, see the world, see the pain, see the suffering. Find your voice based on living through that experience. It's because you cannot help but be touched by what you see.
Hi, Kyla.
Right?
Good, how are you? So another woman that I met at the Dream Center is Kyla. She is a force to be reckoned with. So you want us to meet you at the Dream Center at 2?
Today I got a phone call from a young girl who has been in the life for quite a few years. A pimp took her when she was 12 or 13 years old and turned her out. So essentially here in the US, that is what we know as trafficking.
You have a rescue? Whoa, okay.
Today she called in a panic. She's been trying to get away from this guy for a couple of days. She literally had this knife on her and called and said, I can't get him to stop beating me, I'm about to cut him. And so we called law enforcement, and then we were able to get her safely into our vehicle and away from the situation and to a safe place.
My name is Sergeant Brian Gallagher. This is the LAPD's Operations South Bureau Human Trafficking Task Force. I have Officer Kimberly Felix, Officer Rosanna Lou Legend, Officer Vanessa Rios, and Officer Andrew Gonzalez. There's 4 of them and myself, and we are the unit. Our primary responsibility is to combat human trafficking, specifically of minors.
We want to see these girls get out of this life.
Right.
We want to see these girls get help.
What Kyla does is like phenomenal, because what she does is she actually goes and starts just giving business cards, builds this relationship with these girls. Without Kyla, I don't know what we would do.
I knew it was so important for me to see some of the things that she experiences. So we went on a drive along, and it was an incredible and eye-opening experience.
We've talked about doing this for some time, and I'm sure that I will walk away changed no matter what. In that way, I'm really interested to see what happens.
We do go out onto the streets where pimps have put their girls out on what they call a track. We find out what those areas are, and we try to go when they're heavily populated so we can connect with as many girls as possible. We connect with an average of 100 girls a week.
People think it doesn't happen here, right? They think it happens only internationally. It happens in this country or that country, but not here. It's happening right here, and it's happening to kids who are born and raised right here.
These girls have come from a background where they just have, at 5 years old, some of them have been sold by their parents. Some of them have been sexually abused.
In America, parents are selling their
kids.
kids.
Here in your backyards.
The craziest track that I've ever seen, where there were girls out in like lingerie, was literally 2 miles from where I was living. In the daytime, it was just this family-friendly area.
I was shocked to see how close to my neighborhood all of this was shaking down.
So who are these girls? How do they get to this point?
They all have some sort of vulnerability.
It sounds really cliche, but they're throwaway kids.
And that's what they refer them as.
They're throwaway kids. They've been raised in the foster system. No one's ever cared for them. Now they're 14, 15 years old. Some pimp comes along and, hey, I'm gonna dress you and I'm gonna get your nails done and get your hair looking good. And she goes, wow, he really cares about it. No one's ever done this for me.
I would venture to say that if you would approach one of those women, they would love to have a better life other than what they're doing. But I don't know if they feel anybody cares.
A majority of them have had some type of incest, usually, or just some type of sexual abuse from someone. And they don't know that they can say no to people, and they end up being manipulated into this situation.
It doesn't start like a pimp relationship. You know, you hear the story. Where did this start? Well, he told, it was a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. They tell them how beautiful they are, something that they probably never heard in their life.
These pimps are looking for these young girls who are vulnerable, who might have low self-esteem.
They tell them that they love them. And these girls, like, they're completely brainwashed.
A pimp from the Valley had gone to North Carolina, and he had another girl befriend her. She told her she was getting ready to celebrate her 21st birthday, and the girl was like, oh, I'm actually from Los Angeles. You should come out and celebrate there. We could have a real party. This girl introduced the victim to a guy friend, and they started talking and connecting, and bought her a bus ticket, picked her up from the bus station, and then took her to a dumpy motel, and he raped her and turned her out. And she's been stuck with them for the last probably 8 days. When the pimp got frustrated that she wasn't following his instructions, he took a knife and he lit it on fire and he cut her and burned her with it. The only way this 21-year-old could get away from that pimp was to jump out of a moving car. So what we've been doing for the last couple of days is take care of her wounds.
One of the things that sort of enables human trafficking to still exist is because most of us assume it doesn't exist. Society assumes that something as egregious as human trafficking probably ended a long time ago, when it's happening 5 minutes from here.
There's girls on both sides here.
It's very strange because you think, how is this happening? Why isn't anybody doing anything? Like, why don't the cops just pull them off the streets?
The reason why we can't just take a girl off the street, like, hey, get in with us, we're gonna save you, is because they don't know that they need to be saved. They don't necessarily know that they're a victim.
It's a culture. It's the way they talk, you know, and the way they live.
The pimp, part of the game is that he makes her feel like she's part of this business. And so for a while, they feel like they're a part of a family or a team. And abuse is just normal to them because they've never known any different.
It's a life that none of us will ever understand.
Most people don't have an understanding that what's always been seen as just prostitution is and has always been slavery here in the U.S. And we're just now becoming aware of that.
We've always just passed them by and said, that's a prostitute there. No, that's a kid.
That's a child. It's like there's a girl right here on our left. They're mentally bound. When I see these girls, I don't so much see them as being in physical chains, but there's a chain around their brains that entraps them and enslaves them to their abuser.
99.9% of them are out there because someone's forcing them to be.
Still to this day, in so many states across the country, these girls are seen as criminals. They're not regarded as victims.
We had to be very mindful of the pimps in the area because they were keeping a very close eye on the girls. And we even had like a couple pimps, you know, like not come to the car, but say, come here, like that kind of stuff. And that's where I kind of got nervous.
What's hard is when they disappear.
Yeah.
Like there are so many girls, I'm like, where did she go?
Yeah.
And then you hear the horror stories, like what doesn't make the news, especially here, is all of the girls who disappear and how many bodies are found. We literally saw a girl a few weeks ago on the street and her hands were bound, like just tied up with so much duct tape, and she was sobbing and had bruises all over her face from a John who had just raped her. One girl was found in a dumpster over here with her breast cut off.
Oh my God.
Was that on the news? Nope.
No.
Exactly. Because no one cares because she was just a prostitute. We've had 140 rescues through our emergency shelter in the last year and a half. Like we're an all women staff, all females. And so it's really, really important for these girls to be able to meet and see and have really strong women in their life to be able to hold their hands and help them through the recovery process. Sometimes I wish they could be a fly on the wall with us to know how much we care about them.
And are you seeing improvements?
Yeah, I've seen incredible improvement over the last 2 years. Last year we saw 4 convictions. There's 2 street corners that are empty now. And those girls are doing so awesome. And to pass by there and see that they don't have to be out there working anymore, to me makes all of the drama and all of the struggles and trying to help them earn and believe that they really are valuable and that they really are worth something, makes it all worth it.
To be honest, I'm a little numb right now. I feel like I'm just letting it all sink in because I have to say, I mean, there are very few people who probably had a window to the world that I just saw. Seeing Kyla's work and knowing what she does, my takeaway is, whoa, we need more Kylas. Like, there are amazing women doing these monumental things.
Being a woman and being from Chicago, I'm very proud to say that Oprah Winfrey is from my town. And obviously she's inspired lots of women, including myself. And so I was extremely excited when Dianne Hudson, her executive producer on the Oprah Winfrey Show for 20 years, agreed to do a sit-down interview with us. I had this short window of time to make this happen and to set up this interview. Amazingly, my sister and I were driving down the highway in Chicago when the call finally came in. It's just exciting for us. We're just these little Puerto Rican chicks from a little town of Chicago. Okay, you too. I'll talk to you later. So this is cool!
My name is Dianne Hudson. I was producer and then executive producer of the Oprah Winfrey Show for 20 years. Working on the Oprah Show was definitely one of the most fascinating things that could happen to any producer anywhere in the world.
I feel like so many of us wouldn't be here if it weren't for Oprah Winfrey. I mean, there is no way that I can't include her in the person that I am and how I was shaped.
Look who I am here with, Oprah Winfrey herself.
So Oprah was that living, breathing example of selflessness.
I didn't know when I started what the journey would be. Something just told me to go for it. And of course, the rest is history. What was extraordinary about it is I found myself in a situation with lots of other women, great women, who had these creative ideas that were then channeled by this amazing leader, you know, who we all know now as Oprah.
Oprah's mantra has always been about how can you serve? And that really spoke to me more than anything.
Oh, I've been reading of Oprah Winfrey, and now I wish I could be like her some days.
Her attitude was always, you don't look at the other horses in the race. You just run the race yourself. So don't look back, don't look sideways. Here's who we are, here's what we're gonna do. From the beginning, it was a woman thing. And so it was starting next season, Dianne, we're gonna do good. She just said, I know people are hungry for it. These are women we're talking to. They'll get it. If they don't get it at first, they'll get it eventually.
You're the reason I got into broadcasting. We're live around the world, Oprah, and I have to give praise where it is due. So thank you.
Wow. We realized that we had a lot of power, we had a lot of responsibility, and a big, big opportunity to affect the world. So we just set about doing that.
So bow down to you, Oprah Winfrey. Thank you very, very much.
Blessings.
Blessings.
You know what time I think it is? I think it's time for us to really celebrate. I think we need to acknowledge and celebrate in every category.
This is just such an exciting time to be a woman.
It's wonderful to have women stepping up to the plate and doing things without fear.
When the women of America and the world get activated, that's when big things happen.
Women are strong. We are making a difference. We are coming to the forefront.
Women are taking over. It is the time for women to emerge.
Women rock. Like, we're needed. Like, we give life. You can't make it without a woman. Try to live this life without a female.
You're starting to see more women portrayed as leaders on TV and in media. They're being portrayed on TV as presidents and CEOs of companies, and I think this is a great thing because the more role models we can put out there that are women, the more they understand they can do it.
The values of a patriarchy, which tend to be sort of like chauvinism, militantism, inflexible belief, violence, like these are all values that have hurt us as a species.
Not to say that men are not great leaders, but I think women are uniquely qualified to lead. We have an innate ability to demonstrate empathy, to relate, to be thoughtful around the business at hand as well as the humanity. When you blend those two things, and women, we do that so beautifully, I think that we'll see a different result.
I think it's time for women to start supporting each other. The men have been doing it for years.
It's just about us as women reaching out to other women and saying, we believe in you, we're here with you, you're not in this all alone.
This movement, because it is a movement, is saying to women, yes, let your voice be heard. Not just by what you say, by what you do.
The one thing we have to do is remember that there's so many millions of women still on this earth who do not have easy lives, who are still living those things that we've been able, in many cases, to leave behind.
I think we need to join hands together. The women of Africa, the women of America, the women of the world. We need to join hands together and set our standard and set our values and work together. In that way we can encourage one another, we can support one another, and in that way we all get up together on the same level.
I think a lot of people are hesitant to get involved. They think I might bite off more than I can chew. It just takes a little bit, because I know so many people that go, well, I want to do something. That something is waiting for you.
Your basic abilities matter and can be a miracle in someone else's life.
I have a plea to women. As a species, as a planet, we need you. If men are left to their own devices, the planet is doomed. We need women to save the world.
I love that this documentary is using the media to acknowledge what women are doing, to remind us what we need to do, to celebrate what we're doing. Because I really feel like we need to be in a celebration period. There is so much good stuff. We've come so far, and I hope that anybody watching this is like totally inspired to pat herself on the back, pat her girlfriends on the back, and keep on going.
He's getting out. David. Checking the
Very dangerous. What I'm about to do.
Do it. Go, baby. Ready, go. What do I do?
Say something.
Say something?
Yeah.
Here comes David. I was never good at breaking the rules. See, I didn't even speak out, Mom. I was terrible.
I told you.
Yeah, but there were a couple of boys that snuck in, as I recall. That's true.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna start over.
You made it a point to hire 40% women.
It adds stability to the marketplace. It adds stability to the workplace. That diversity adds a normalization of broader society. And I just think, I think people innately feel comfortable, in mixed company.
And what we do, we solve problems every day, or we try to find new ideas to, make money. But if you're taking women out of that, you're taking half the ideas out of it as well. That's very short-sighted, I think.
I had this bracelet that said believe in yourself. So I went up to the oldest girl, Faith, and I told her, whenever you're feeling like you can't do something, or if you're down on yourself, just believe in yourself. I told her that when she leaves, to hand the bracelet down to the next person, whoever's gonna look over everyone.
Vision board. Tell us about your vision board.
Well, of course I have my mom on here, and I want to be a dog trainer possibly. I want to travel. It says hear me roar, and I want to have like a part in the world. I want people to hear me and what I have to say, and for women to get treated the same way as men do. Hi, my name is Colon-Petree, and I'm here with Women Like Us Foundation in Dominican Republic. I'm helping build a home for Stacy, and she's now my best friend in Dominican.